If you ask me what I mean the problem is with the newer Assassin's Creed RPG titles, I'd say it's lack of a clear definition. Yes, compared to earlier renditions, you get more player choice and there has been implemented a lot of cool features, which maybe sounds good, but I'm arguing that this only sounds good on the surface level, because this also means the game lacks a proper definition. For example, I was much more immersed into traversing by ship in Assassin's Creed 4 Black Flag than I was in Odyssey, and this was simply because Odyssey does not have a definition, like Black Flag is a defined pirate game, which results in the fact that I feel omnipresent when I play Odyssey and also Valhalla. I'm just not part of the world, and this is because the setting isn't specialized at the very least. And this is also, well, extremely much reflected in the parkour itself, which is too much of a feature in the newer titles and so accessible that I, for example, simply take it for granted. In this video, I'm going to request what I'd like to see in the next Assassin's Creed rendition. What should be altered with the format to fight against, for example, that lack of a clear definition. Let me begin this video by proposing which setting I'd like to be seen in the next rendition of Assassin's Creed, and there's a high chance that it will be featured based on rumors of what Assassin's Creed Infinity actually means. For a newer title, I'd personally like to see the game capture the Roman Empire when it was at its highest point, reflecting, for example, Italy in that age and also France. I'd make it go with the Witcher world format, creating the illusions of magnitude, with featuring multiple maps, which all tends to capture the illusion of operating within a large landmass. The reason why I'm choosing the Roman Empire as my ideal setting is simply by how it goes with the format of Origins and Odyssey and their overall feel. I personally did not like how the game series went from featuring antiquity and jumping forward 1000 years in time to feature something entirely different. My OCD makes it so that I would like gradual changes in setting, going more and more further in time at an ideal pace, like the franchise did from its conceptualization towards Rogue. Also, I just personally want the beautiful landmass of Italy and France to be rendered in an open world RPG game. The warm setting really makes me fantasize with it being in an Assassin's Creed game. Also, I feel like with the current format of AC, it would thrive on a large open landmass and on open fields. As long as the character or protagonist featured in the next rendition in the franchise is well made and believable and universal, if the gender is, well, irrelevant to me. What I don't like about the new renditions of the franchise, since it's fully changed to an RPG, is the lack of the protagonist's strong characteristics and creating a believable protagonist which fits the time and plays the role of syndicating the story. I don't believe in creating an identical, genderless, personality-less character which exists based solely on the choices you make. Well, I'd actually like this if it was properly integrated in an advanced way which reflected your actions, resulting in, for example, multiple endings, and that your choices really was integral to creating an advanced story. But this is so complicated and so far away from our time, and also takes much longer work to implement than implementing a clear narrative that the franchise had from AC1 to Origins. This clear narrative is also more canonical to the story of the franchise, in that it fits with the format of reliving memories. The format which I am suggesting, which also fits with the Roman Empire setting, is something which opens up for parkour traversal. I have in an earlier video suggested which parkour system that I want integrated into the newer titles, and that is a more interactive parkour system, which fits the role of immersing yourself into the character and most of all, the world space. Without proper player interactivity, you are simply omnipresent to the point where you don't feel immersed into the setting. I want the old AC Parkour interactivity implemented into the franchise for this fact. I want to traverse through the rooftops, and this can be allowed through the Roman setting. I'm saying let's reintegrate rooftop traversal and player interactivity. The parkour, which is mainly what defined AC back in the days, really needs to be reintegrated. And I believe this can be done through, for example, the Roman setting, with the integral infrastructure of, for example, Rome. Another part of integrating yourself into the character is implementing a believable backstory and motive, which is more integral to the plot, making each action you take have a fuel-driven foundation, and often one which is driven by larger-than-life ideals. Imagine implementing the Discovery Tour format into your main save. What if you, by the touch of a button, could activate the cinematic viewing mode, showing off the sceneries of the games and the player in a cinematic way? Kind of like what's implemented into Rockstar's games. In other words, why the hell should all of these beautiful sceneries and recreations of the past go to waste? When you press a certain button while riding, you automatically go to the Eagle or the Raven in Valhalla. However, I find it laughable that you can't activate the mode which integrates the sceneries of lost times, to the point where you are transported into the open world. When you enter a city, for example, you can press the triangle button, and then everything changes. You get to appreciate the fantastic sculptures and architectures that is lost to time. Assassin's Creed is unparalleled when it comes to creating beautiful sceneries, but as of up to now, they serve as nothing more as a backdrop, and I think this is a shame. One of the larger setbacks in how Assassin's Creed has become such a mass market machine is the necessity of featuring the choice of playing characters of two genders, male and female, with no backbone defining each of them, no archetypal structure defining each gender through history. So, with the new format, I presume that the necessity of creating this choice evaporates, in that you can feature multiple stories, one featuring male with archetypal backbone and a female. So I think that the new format makes it so that characters can be defined again, in that you can, yes, choose a gender in one setting and another one in another setting. I have high hopes for new formats, since it is the best that can be done in today's gaming climate in the AAA competition. If you've listened this far, which out of my statistics you are one of 10, thank you very much for listening, and I hope you enjoy my videos. And I'm not gonna say please subscribe and like, but thank you for listening.